Hello and welcome to our second Forged in Fire video about the CPL Fantasy League. I'm not going to make one after every match day or something, but it was the first game. It was my first day of being a Canadian Premier League fantasy football manager. I kind of just wanted to go over what happened, especially because Forge is my favorite team, and once again they're opening up the season. I realized it didn't go well yesterday for the most part. A lot of lost points, a lot of probably bad decisions, and I probably should have rethink things better. Watching the game, um, obviously I'm always gonna hope my team does well before I hope my fantasy team does well. So despite the best possible result fantasy-wise yesterday being likely a nil-nil draw with all of my with all the clean sheets I would have obtained, as well as Henry being my captain, I still was cheering when Novak scored his goal, and although I was double disappointed when Zator put in the header right within 10 minutes, that was a little defeating. But going over how it went yesterday, like it was a tough match. Start, Cavalry dominated the game. More of the end of first half, start of second half, Forge was dominating the game, and then a lot of controversy at the end, which was sort of a silver lining for my team because my defender Mavilla was actually the one that took the penalty, so that was even maybe a little helpful. But things that I realized is, I guess, like facing Cavalry, maybe York 9 would be the only other team that I wouldn't necessarily have a clean sheet faith in, but I was really thinking that Forge was going to come out defensively strong, and that just didn't happen. So relying on Forge to keep a clean sheet and having so many points held up on whether that happens or not is a bit of a risk. If it was against Atletico Ottawa or Valor or something, I might have been more confident, but I do not think I'll be captaining a keeper again. When I played the English Premier League fantasy, I told myself I would never do it. I don't know, I didn't stick to it this time. I guess I just had a little too much faith in my Forge defense. But yeah, so that seems to be a mistake so far. Henry has got 2 points, and it doubles for me up to 4. Despite letting in 2 goals, he made 4 saves, one of them a huge save off a header near the end of the game to preserve the lead at that time before the penalty happened. But that was good. It's like, even if they could very much get a clean sheet against Edmonton, and then Henry's going to be looking a lot better. That'll add another 6 plus saves, and then that'll double. So it could still end up looking good, captain choice, but right now it's not really paying off. Grant getting injured and then being subbed off, that was defeating because I was pretty confident with him that he was going to be starting most games and be playing higher up than a defenseman normally does, so that sucked. Tissot not starting, which I had a feeling what would happen. One thing that I've even been in contact with the people that run the fantasy league site, and one thing, if you have played the English Premier League game, you'll know that whether a player has started the game or comes off the bench, they receive 1 point, which looks like does happen in this, up to 60 minutes where they could get another one. But as of right now, Tissot was not on for both goals, and neither was Grant, but they have been deducted a point based off of Forge being on for 2 goals, or Forge letting in 2 goals. So I was just talking to him about if that's the rule, if regardless of whether they were on the field or not, that they played, all goals count against them. And as of right now, that's the truth. That's why Tissot does not have 1 point, and that's why Grant doesn't have 1 point. Grant would not have 2 points despite playing 60 minutes because he got the yellow card. But under English Premier League rules, they should both have 1 point. If this is their rules and their identity, no problem, as long as it's consistent throughout the season. That's their choice. They created the site, and it's just something that's good to know now. But yeah, that's the only thing that caught me off guard. Cordova not starting, what the heck was that? Which I'm seriously considering bringing in oh my gosh, what's his name? Wheeldon now. Just because he's listed as a defender playing in the top striker role yesterday. So I'm going to be looking at in Cavalry's next game if that is consistent, or if he gets sent back to the defense, if he plays at all, because if he's a defender, listed as a defender playing striker, think that's a must-have player. Despite him not scoring yesterday, that was against Forge. Against other teams, he'll likely pop in 1 or 2 goals per game, and each one of those goals is five or 6 points, or I think it's 6 points, because it's a defender scoring. So that's what I'm considering bringing in there. I ended up, sorry, as you can see, I guess I forgot to address this. I did make some changes since the other video before I had Schweinier in. Instead, I brought in Engineer Janssen, which ended up being a poor decision because Schweinier did get an assist on the Becker goal. But I brought in Janssen just because it was going to be a for sure starter, I think, for both games. I was correct in assuming that Schweinier wasn't going to start. It's just he ended up doing more damage off the bench. And going forward, I'll probably get 2 more points from Janssen for starting the next game too, which will be fine. A 4-point week for a player isn't awful. But I think I'm going to end up getting rid of him just because he doesn't look like he's joining the attack at all. Still doing his job on the team as far as Smiriotis wants, but not great fantasy-wise. So I will probably... The 3 players I'm kind of looking at using my transfers on right now going to the next week are Cordova, Janssen, and Grant. And then that'll give me different cavalry and forge options going forward. And like I said in the last video, I used to have Ungaro in, and now I'm probably going to bring him in this next week. I thought I'd try to get Cordova in for the double game week, and that might have paid off, but it looks like he might get max 1 game if he starts the next, and who knows if that'll even happen or if Wheeldon will play back up there again. Unfortunately, Farsi went in, and I think they've given him an assist for drawing the penalty. That's what my guess is right now. I'm just going to go under the info and see if it says anything. Yeah, so they gave him an assist for drawing the penalty, which is normal for most fantasy leagues, I believe. Because sometimes it's just hard in soccer in general to be given the assist. It's not like hockey where it's the last 2 people to mostly influence the play. It's once another team touches the ball, that assist is no longer yours for the most part. So fantasy is normally a little more lenient. Drawing penalties or fouls that lead to goals, or even sometimes rebounds or things that go off the post end up counting as well as assists. But yeah, so I don't know. It was an exciting game yesterday. Forge. I know I'm biased because I'm a fan, and if there's any cavalry fans watching this, they're either going to say, don't complain, you should have won by more, or it did. I still don't think it did, but it might have touched the very lower part of his arm right next to his shoulder, which I am a referee myself, and going by the laws of the game, if it's going to make your body bigger, then it's going to be a penalty in that case. But it looked like side to me. Anyway, I'm not going to complain about that very much. I was really hoping Henry was going to save that, because a double 5-pointer on the penalty save, that would have made it all worth it, and I would have felt like a genius. But that did not happen. Instead, I got -2 because he's captain, so -1 times 2 for letting in a second goal. But yeah, that's kind of how we're looking. I'm looking forward to the rest of the games this week. I will be away from my computer for most of the weekend, so I won't be making any more videos before the next game week starts. I'm just going to give you an idea into what my transfers might look like. I can't tinker around as much because once you make those 3 transfers, you can't go back and undo them, so just be careful for you guys as well. And yeah, I'm having fun with this. Also, sorry, thank you very much to the Canadian Premier League Fantasy for sharing my last video. I was mostly doing this for fun, but like this actually seems like it might be kind of cool if I get a little bit of a following. I also have a Instagram account. I believe it's called CanFPL_ForgedInFire. So if you want to follow that, I'm just going to be posting my starting lineups, transfers, and I don't know. I don't really have a set schedule for things right now because, like I said, this is kind of just a fun thing now. But if people are actually going to watch this and have some fun with it, I mean, I don't know. I'll try to do things consistently and stuff whenever I have time. Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll see you probably after the weekend, after the 4 games. Really excited for it. Looks like it's going to be a fun return. Take care.